Okay, so Google DeepMind just dropped something that might just flip the entire world of software development on its head. We're talking about an AI that builds itself. Yeah, you heard that right. Let's get into it. So, what if you could build a complete app from just one sentence? I mean, seriously, you just describe what you want, and an AI doesn't just spit out some code. No, it plans the whole thing, builds it, tests it, and even fixes its own bugs along the way. It sounds like something out of a movie, right? But this is the reality Google is building as we speak. And this quote from Julian Goldie just hits the nail on the head. You're basically outsourcing coding to AI. We're way past the simple little code helpers now. This is the big league. It's about handing over the entire development process to a whole team of AI agents. So you've got to be asking, how is this even possible? What's the tech behind it? Well, it all comes down to two key pieces of the puzzle. First, there's a brand new development toolkit called Antigravity, and then there's the brain powering it all, the next-gen AI, Gemini 3. Let's break them down. Okay, Antigravity. The easiest way to wrap your head around this is with an analogy. You know how you use Microsoft Word for documents or Excel for spreadsheets? Well, Antigravity is that, but for building software with AI. It's the home base, the command center, where you get to direct your whole team of AI agents. Now, the brains of the operation, Gemini 3, actually come in two flavors. First, you've got Gemini 3 Pro. Think of this as the powerhouse, the heavyweight champ. It's built for those really deep, complex, multi-step projects. Then you've got Gemini 3 Flash. This one's the sprinter. It's all about speed, perfect for banging out quick prototypes and testing ideas without breaking the bank. The key takeaway here, you get to pick the right tool for the job. So this anti-gravity platform is really made up of three main parts. First is the agent manager. That's your command center. Then there's the editor, which is probably going to look familiar. It's where you can hop in, look at the code, and take over if you need to. And then, and this is my favorite part, there's the browser. This is where the AI can literally open the app it's building, click on the buttons, and test its own work. How cool is that? Okay, so we've got the environment, anti-gravity, and we've got the AI brains, Gemini 3. But how do they actually come together to build something? Let's walk through the whole process, from a simple idea all the way to a working app. You know, the actual workflow here is surprisingly simple. It really boils down to three steps. First, you just frame the problem. Give it a clear, specific prompt. Second, the system takes over. It orchestrates its team of agents, makes a plan, and just starts building. And third, you review and refine. The agent shows you what it's done, and you give feedback, not by writing code, but by leaving comments and notes, almost like you're in a Google Doc. So let's use a real-world example. It all starts with a prompt, something simple like, build me a flight lookup web app where a user can input a flight number and see the flight details. And notice, you're not telling the AI how to code it, you're just describing what you want, the final product. And that shift in thinking, it's everything. Okay, this next part is really important. Before it writes a single line of code, the AI creates something called an artifact. Think of it as a detailed blueprint or an implementation plan. It breaks down all the tasks, like setting up the user interface or a test database, and it even says, here's how I'm going to check my own work. This transparency is just crucial. It means you get to see and approve the entire strategy before the building even starts. So, once you give that plan the green light, the agents just go. They get to work. They build the components, they set up a mock server for testing, and they even fire up that automated browser to run the app and make sure it's working properly. The result? A fully functional app. Not just a chunk of code, but a real, working product ready for your final okay. All right, so if the AI is handling all the coding, all the testing, what's left for you, for the human developer? This is where things get really interesting, because this might be the biggest shift of all. Your role? It completely changes. And I gotta say, I love this quote from Google's own material. It says, "Congratulations, you have been elevated to a manager of agents." I mean, that just captures it perfectly, right? You're not the one on the assembly line anymore. You're the director, the manager, overseeing this team of super fast, tireless AI workers. So your new job description? It's way less about the nitty-gritty implementation and all about high-level direction. You're the architect of the solution. You're supervising multiple agents working at the same time. You're reviewing their plans, those artifacts we talked about, and you're providing the big picture strategic guidance. You're basically shifting from working in the project to working on the project. And of course, this brings up the big question, the one that's on everyone's mind. Are you being replaced? The whole philosophy here, at least as it's being presented, is augmentation, not replacement. The idea is that the AI takes care of all the tedious grunt work, which frees you up to focus on the things that humans are amazing at: strategy, creativity, and the final quality control. Let's just pull back for a second and look at the big picture. This isn't just about a cool new tool. What we're really looking at is the start of a whole new agentic era for building software. So, what does agentic actually mean for our day-to-day? Well, it means the whole way we work is basically getting flipped on its head. Think about it. We're going from writing every single line of code to just describing the final outcome we want. We're moving from manually hunting for bugs late at night to just reviewing automated test reports in the morning. The focus is shifting completely, away from the tiny implementation details and toward the grand, high-level architecture. Now, we do need to keep our feet on the ground here. This is powerful stuff, but it's still very much early access technology. It's not a magic button, and it absolutely requires a human supervisor to guide it. But even now, in these early days, the potential to just supercharge the development process, it's absolutely enormous. And that really brings us to the final and maybe most important question. For decades, being a great developer has been about mastering the how to write the code, how to build the thing. But what happens when AI agents start handling more and more of the how for us? Well, the new frontier becomes the what. If AI handles the building, what will you create? What big problems will you solve? What incredible ideas will you finally bring to life? And to me, that is the most exciting question of all.